What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Live Composing Show. I'm your host, Stephen Melin, and I'm here just to help you guys see behind the curtain of real live projects. I'm excited for you guys to join me here today. I know that these are earlier hours than normal. This is actually the very start of my workday, so I'm less awake than I usually am, but I do have some morning coffee topped off with some heavy whipping cream, vanilla extract, and cinnamon. That's kind of my jam when it comes to coffee. So I'm excited to pep up here as we get started. But I appreciate you guys being here. Normally we have these Live Composing Show streams every Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today I had to shift it because of kids' school schedule, but what you gonna do, right? This is something I talk about all the time here on the show, is this whole family work-life balance. And if your family is first, then you will make everything else work, and it's going to be great. So I'm excited for you guys to be here. Welcome Xavier, Luca, and a bunch of others piling in here at the beginning. Today is a bittersweet day because I'm excited that we get to write another song for the Boar Knight musical podcast. It's a show that's going to launch next year, but we're on episode 15, which means this is the final episode. This is the final song for this particular show. So next week I'll be back with something fresh, something new for you guys, different project we're working on. But today it's kind of bittersweet because we've been working on this off and on for almost the entire year. I know that you guys have been following me as I've written for Monster Sanctuary and a bunch of other things over this year. Realm Weaver, which is a big game working on for next year as well. And so those have really taken the spotlight, but the Boar Knight has just kind of been this thing in the background I've been working on as time permits. And what's interesting about this particular show is it's just a multiple step process. This is not your typical hire the composer to write the thing and then it's done. Instead, this is like a 7 or 8 step process per track. But this is the musical theater world. This is kind of how it works. I get a brief from the team. I write a demo song, which is what we're doing here today for episode 15. And then I send it back to the team. They either approve it or ask for some revisions. So that could be an extra step of me revising. And then they send me lyrics. And then I sing a demo track with the lyrics. And I might edit the lyrics to better fit. So it's truly a collaboration here. And then once that's approved or revised, we're already 5 or 6 steps into this thing, and then I send it off to the orchestrator, Mike Petrie, who's doing a phenomenal job on this soundtrack, and then he does his orchestration, and then if there's live players, we'll get them involved and recorded, and then we send it off to the vocalists, who are the actors for the show. So by that point, we're like 10 steps into this thing. So you can imagine how this can be a very, very time-sensitive process where I'm always working on something for the project, which is why it just takes so long. For example, we've, the first 3 songs are actually done, but 4, 5, and 6 are currently they're in the middle of the steps where they're getting their lyrics, and then I'll get into the orchestrator. So we kind of do these in batch chunks. It's very interesting. It's a different way to write music, and this is just kind of the reality of the musical theater world, and just songwriting in general is usually a much slower process than, musical score. But, it's one of the many things we get to do as composers. It's a lot of fun. So I appreciate you guys jumping in here with me today. We're going to be knocking out episode 15. So this episode is called, let me pull up my notes here so we can take a look. This one's called Fond Farewell and Fair Dealings. So this is the goodbye song. This is, the whole story has happened up to this point, all the way through episode 14. And these are episodes. There's dialogue and there's characters and acting and such, but then these songs happen at a certain point in the show. And so the songs up to this point have all been story content. It's been someone's desires or wishes or a villain or something like that. But here we are, episode 15. The whole thing's done. This is kind of like the reprise, the big musical number at the end. So this is likely going to be the longest track, the longest song, because it needs to kind of recap the whole story and kind of celebrate the win, the victory at the end. So the team gave me a lot of freedom on this one, but they did say, they gave me a couple notes. They said they want it to sound like the opening song to Beauty and the Beast, which is Bonjour, which we'll play in a second. a portion of that, which is very upbeat. But what separates that from this is like the end of the story. This is not the beginning, so it's not going to be about introducing anyone and giving concepts. Instead, it's going to be kind of a recap. And so with that in mind, I want to make sure that it has these upbeat Disney-style fast lyrics, very happy melody, but not over the board. And they even put a special note to avoid sounding overly super happy, like "Someday my prince will come" from Snow White, right? But then they also add the note of possibly do some callback or musical tie-in to the introduction theme. So let's make sure we're all on the same page here. So the first thing I want to play for you guys as we jump in, and just a nice refresher, is I'm going to grab the introduction theme, which is the main theme it's going to play at the beginning of every episode. This one is done and has already had a singer on it and everything. So let me pull that open. Probably should have grabbed that from the top, huh? Yeah, trotting through the trees, saving life with great ease. He's the hero we need. Have you guys heard this? I'm not sure if I even shared this final version. It's been through many iterations, but let's play that real quick as a nice little start. So this is what we're going to be hearkening back to today. Holy hot. That's loud. Let me turn that down so we don't break any more eardrums.
Trotting through the trees, saving lives with great ease. He's the hero we need. Friendship and daring, here comes the Boar Knight now. Which adventures beckon, never fear we will win. Noble new tale to spin. Friendship and daring, music and caring, now's the time. Here comes the Boar Knight now.
So you can probably gather from that. I always think of Dragon Ball Z of all things. That was actually one of the leading influences when we made this thing, because I think we still in the works are going to be making an animatic, like an actual animated intro in the style of 90s cartoons to match that song. I'm pretty sure that's still happening. So there's like a rich lore of this world and these characters. Nathaniel, the Boar Knight, there's a whole history there. But it's this fun song that I want to make sure I hearken back to it in some way. And it's interesting because I've never really gotten into anime, and I don't know if that's quite an anime style song, but to me, like the brief for that song was to make it as 90s cartoon as possible. And I think we got that. And that is in large part to Mike Petrie's Orchestration, and he put some guitars on that track and stuff. So I think my biggest strength is writing melodies and writing a piano sketch that others can turn stuff into. So that's kind of what we're working with here. That's the main theme, but I also want to play, most of you already know this, but let me just play a very small portion of Bonjour from Beauty and the Beast. Hopefully I won't get a copyright strike here. Let's find out. I'll keep it short just so we can have the reference in our heads.
Bonjour! 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 There goes the baker with his tray, like always. There's
Upon some cloud,
Illuminating, she's a funny girl that day.
this one.
and her nose stuck in a book.
Till chapter 3.
So cool. Most of you know that song already, but the idea is it's very upbeat and happy. It's very lively, lots of plucked strings, lots of little flourishes. It's super Disney, right? And that was Alan Menken, which is, I think, that's his best work ever. It's on that same plane as Little Mermaid, right? And Pocahontas. It kind of has this very, very stylistic, over-the-top musical theater flourishes of strings. It's just kind of what I think of. And we also have to take that idea, we need to blend it with the intro and then still give it the identity of the Boar Knight, which for me is very influenced by video game music. So this song today really holds a lot of weight because it has to pull three, it's like a triangle, right? It has to really hit these three very different points. It has to have the introductory, upbeat feel of Beauty and the Beast. It has to represent the introduction, right, of the main theme to the Boar Knight, which is like more rock, anime style, and then bridge those together into a third point, which is keeping it in the video game vernacular. So chord-wise, Xavier says, I think you just got an email from Disney. Probably. So in video game terminology, something we do a lot, really popularized by Nobuo Uematsu in the Final Fantasy series and Koji Kondo in the Legend of Zelda and Super Mario series, is to do this flat 6, flat 7, major 1. And that's something that I've definitely used a lot in my writing. I've done a lot of modulations to foreign keys and things that are very characteristic of video game music. So that's really what we're working with here today, is how do I blend these three styles and achieve the brief. So this is a blank slate, and there's gonna be a lot of experimentation here, but you know, I have a max of 2 hours to knock this out, so let's do our best. I might get it done way faster, who knows? But the first thing I like to start with is some kind of groove or some sort of style identity. So let's jump into Cubase. Let's have some fun. And first thing I think of when I think of Beauty and the Beast is like these little chugging Broadway piano triads. So I'm thinking something along these lines of using slight amount of polytonality, not to sound weird, but like overly happy. It's where you do a C chord and then a D over C, or a B flat over C. Like something like that, which definitely has the video game vibe. Try avoid minor chords. I think that's the style here, because if you think about Beauty and the Beast, we have I guess that is major minor, major minor. Right. I think that's pretty cool. And hey, what's up, Azaki Nicholas? Nicholas says, hey Steven, do you use sustain pedal or manage that on the MIDI itself? Oh yes, I'm definitely using a sustain pedal for everything here today. Right down there. I use pedal on everything. Because I'm first and foremost a pianist who just happens to do everything else, right? I always consider myself a pianist first. I mean, I guess a composer first, pianist second, but... Oh, cool. You think it sounds like cats? So we got lots of directions here. I'm pretty sold on using a piano because that's going to help. But I didn't quite realize that until just playing through Beauty and the Beast, that it really does do the minor, major, minor, major, minor, major, 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 which helps. Right? But at the end of the day, it always has this perpetual motion of the chord. Right? And that's vamping. For those of you who know musical theater, for someone who loves video games and film and such, I also really love musical theater, and I'm not obsessed with it. So I think I come at it from a consumer's point of view, not a creator's point of view, which I think is a healthy point of view, because I don't get so lost in what are the trends, because I don't really know what the trends are in musical theater or in Broadway, but I feel like I can just kind of come at it blind, and it kind of gives me a different sensibility, which I think helps. I don't get so lost in the weeds. So I'm just going to kind of approach this the natural way. I don't want to overthink it, is what I'm trying to say. But to help blend these styles, Luca asks, did I study at conservatory? I mean, in America, we call it university or college. So I do have a bachelor's of music in piano performance. So that was a large part of my education, is theory and oral skills, and be able to read sheet music and sing it back. But also as a pianist, just performing all the time and doing concerts and such, I worked really hard to become good at playing other people's music and kind of studying and that type of stuff. But I also spent a lot of that time writing music and playing different instruments and playing in ensembles and playing violin and orchestra, and then moving on to my master's in at Columbia College Chicago, which is called the Music Composition for the Screen, MFA. And so in that program, it's a lot of film, TV, and games. So I've had a lot of exposure to a lot of different things, which is pretty cool. So if we're going for a happy feel, so I want it to go up, not down. So a down is not the right direction, because this is supposed to be uplifting and like a conclusion and hopeful. So I think it's kind of cool to keep that pedal. So let's just write that in and have something to work with here. We'll call that the intro. Let's put a nice fast tempo of like 110. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, that's way too slow. 140. Bum, 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 bum. 134. Not too fast. Right? So let's roll with that. Give ourselves one bar free. Right, some stiffs. So I'm thinking, there has to be a little bit of a pop sensibility of moving to a 6 eventually. 6. So I don't know. feel like I don't want to be too cyclical or loop based in this. So let's repeat. Let's go from there. All right. Oh, and Skyward mentions a bit of latency. Shouldn't be any, and it might just, it's not even on the click or anything yet, so save that comment. Let's see it. How about now? All right, so these should all be eighth notes. Pretty simple. Keeping it really simple here at the beginning. Movement. Let's try that. That's weird, guys. If the the movement's out of sync, that's the first time ever. That's super bizarre. All right. Well, apologies for any latency you're seeing. All right. Let's get those blended together. All right. The thing about a demo is we're not really focused on production, which is a hard thing to separate because everything I do is about making it sound the best it possibly can. But yeah, so that's why I'm not spending too much time on that stuff. That's super bizarre if you guys are seeing latency and stuff. It could easily be a YouTube thing. That's the thing about streaming is there are so many points of contact. I mean, from my end, everything obviously is syncing up and looking great. But then, of course, there's the potential of OBS or Streamlabs OBS not capturing everything at the same rate. And then, of course, there's tossing it over to YouTube. So it's a crapshoot. But let's keep going. Well, at the very least, hopefully you guys can still follow along and it's not too jarring. I apologize for that. So let's get some chords in. So this is one of my favorite features of Cubase is having multiple marker tracks so I can very easily go through and write in my chords. And this actually makes a huge difference for my orchestrator because he can just see my chords and he can just do his own thing with little string flourishes and such, whatever, that are going to match the chord, which helps a lot. Okay, so that's a D over C. And the cool thing is, once I do it once, I can just copy and paste. And the third one is, I believe, F over C and then back to C, like that. And then over here, I can put, I'm just alt dragging these things to copy and paste real easily. This is going to be my verse 1. And that does not sound long enough for a verse, so we're going to double that. And the beginning part will be an intro, and I'll change that to a different instrumentation later. Okay, and over here we're going to do, for my section, and by the way, if you're using Cubase, you can always click this little check mark to change which marker track you want to use. And for my section, I'm going to do chorus. I don't like the word chorus for this because it's not a pop song. We're just going to call this B. And I'll be specific that it's a B theme. A theme, B theme. Because even Beauty and the Beast has an A theme, B theme. The B theme's in minor, it's slower. It's the na 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 Prince Charming, da 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 da. Right? So we need that separate moment. Twice. Repetition is everything in music. Then let's leave some space for, I'm going to call this A theme transposed, but before we do that, let's do a vamping moment. Vamping in original A. So what that means is I'm going to take this intro, copy paste it. This will be what characters talk. And we're going to transpose it up a whole step. Okay, and we'll continue with this jam by doing the B theme again, but the B theme will be transposed as well since we changed keys. Make sure it's on the bar over here, and I know you guys are asking some questions I'll get to in a sec. I don't want to lose my focus. Cool. And let's just keep rolling with this real quick. Hi, Marie. Welcome. Welcome, Carlo, Azaki, Luca, lots of others. Appreciate you guys jumping in. And you know what? You guys are talking about some latency issues. I can already see what you're talking about because YouTube on my end is like shut down. YouTube does not, I hate to say this, but if you compare something like Twitch, Twitch is very, very secure in its servers and it can uphold a stream. Something about YouTube that sometimes just totally crashes. And thankfully, this is literally why I don't stream through YouTube. I stream through OBS. That way I can keep the stream going. And if somehow the connection screws up with YouTube, you guys stay in the room, I get to stay in the room, and it'll just, buffer and stuff. But what I have found that if there is delay on the replay, if you want to rewatch it, it shouldn't have all that nonsense because it kind of irons it out on the reload. But anyway, enough about the tech talk. What I wanted to do real quick is in this section, I want to have a C section, something that is very different from the rest because, I mean, thankfully, look, this is the beauty of repetition. We're already 2.5 minutes in. That's pretty awesome, right? Looking for about a 3-minute song. So this would be a good place to do a C. And of course, there's going to be some back and forth with the team about where they want the talking moments to be. But as long as I have music, a backtrack, some vamping, it should be helpful. So essentially what we've done is we've transposed to D major. And this last chord is an A7. Now I can actually start on an F sharp minor, and it'll be the 6th of the new key. So that's actually a really good starting point. So the cool thing is I can pretty cleverly find a way to get back to C. That way the ending can be in C. So I want to figure that out real quick by starting in F sharp. Like, I know I'm thinking out loud here, but I hope that this gives you guys some little sense into how I process music and how I generate music. Because everyone's different, everyone has their own way. But right now, what I'm trying to solve musically is I want to get from D major back to C major in a very organic way. So we've done all this transposition up to D, and now to get back to C, I don't want to just like go back to C. I want there to be a smooth transition through a bridge. But it's not a pop song, so we're going to call it a C section. So I'm going to start in the F sharp minor. And I also wanted to have this almost graduation, celebration type feel, nostalgia, melancholy. And we do that by moving chords in blocks. Something like that, right? It kind of has that homey feeling. Now we're in A major, so it went the opposite way. So a quick music theory tip for anybody is if you ever want to transpose between keys, use the circle of fifths. It just means that you keep changing chords in increments of fifths. And so that might be, so right now we're in F sharp minor. So now we're in a D. Now G is a fifth. So the 5th would be C, which is a D chord. So like I can play around with some of those elements. Let's get some things in. You think it sounds like Dire Dire Docks? Yay. Okay, anyway. I can play video game tunes all day. All right, I'll answer some questions now. You guys are blasting my chat. All right, let me go back. You guys are fun. Carlo, okay, let's see. Luca said a while ago, do I only use Cubase or also notation software like Finale or Sibelius? Okay, so here's my rule of thumb. I had to come to grips with this a long time ago when I started to write a lot of music every day. I actually really enjoy using Sibelius, writing sheet music, but that is too time consuming. It doesn't work on commercial projects usually. I will only do that if I'm writing like a main theme or writing something that I know needs to start from my brain instead of my fingers. So it needs to start from intellectually crafting every single note of the melody versus like going to a piano and playing it in, which is more musical. So traditionally when I'm working with a live orchestra, like for the Realm Weaver Tactics, right? That is something that I spend a lot of time in Sibelius. And I'm actually kind of sick of Sibelius at the moment. So it's quite nice to not be in Sibelius. So for speedy composing, I jump right into my DAW. These days, it really is mostly Cubase because I've just become very comfortable with it. I have a lot of cool shortcuts and such that I really love, and it's become my favorite DAW. But of course, I'm in Pro Tools every other day doing mixing and working with audio. But besides that, I really haven't opened up Digital Performer or Ableton Live in quite some time because I just haven't felt the need to. But if I were to open up a giant, massive, like 400, 500 plus instruments loaded through Vienna Ensemble Pro, that's all connected to Digital Performer for me. So that would make more sense for that type of writing. But like this kind of iterative writing where I just add one instrument at a time, it doesn't make any sense to deal with all that. This is way faster. The end. Oh yeah, there's more questions. Sorry. I want to write music. Carlo says, do you have any tips on which piano pieces to study to get near to reach that freedom that is needed to improvise musical ideas? Ooh, that's a tough question. You won't like my answer, but if you want the honest answer, go play piano for 10 years. But if you want to fast track it, go get yourself a book called Hanon, Hanon. It's a book of piano exercises from the 1800s, I believe. And they're all dexterity exercises where you start on C. You do the same pattern up the entire keyboard as hard as you can. And you go all the way to the top. Right? And then there's like 100 variations. Right? That's literally it. And there's like hundreds of those. And you do 1 or 2 of those a day and you'll get really good really fast. As a piano teacher in my past, that is like the number one thing I recommended to students, and it changed their lives completely. It made them really, really good. The other thing is just to practice your scales. Right? Whatever. And then your arpeggios. Now this is a MIDI keyboard, so I can't actually do it right, but right? I promise if you start doing that every day, scales, arpeggios. What happens is your instrument, this is true of all instruments, by the way, it's not just a joke to practice your scales and arpeggios. When you practice that, it becomes internalized, and then when you want to write music, there is no combo of notes I can't play because I've played it before. And that's kind of the idea, is to just practice like that. That's the fastest route, but it's also the hardest route and the route most people don't want to take. But to put this in perspective, I know we're totally getting off topic here, but to put this in perspective, I've taught, no, I'm not even joking, I've taught thousands of piano students. I don't teach piano anymore, but back when I did, like really before composing my full-time thing, I taught thousands of students. I would see 10 students a day. And I did this for years. And so it works. I promise it works. And the people who did it, like I once had a 5th grader who had never played before. Granted, he had a lot of skills, but he came in and day one, I taught him those things. I didn't give him the cheesy, here's your first. He's like, I'm not interested in that. I want to play hard music. Okay, cool. Learn this. Right? And then he started working on that stuff. And then like a year in, he's playing college level music. He's playing like the hard stuff. And it's no surprise, because when you practice the rudimentary fundamentals of any instrument, you're going to get really good really fast, because that's what the whole instrument is based off of. Anyway, just, gonna drop that there. What else we got in the chat? Alter Moore says, hey, I'm just subscribed on your channel today. Well, welcome. Welcome to the craziness here. I think you have an interesting strategy for work as a composer. I don't know how to sell my production, how to promote myself in the right way. Well, Alter Moore, I want to suggest that you head over to Screen Music Academy, which is my education brand. And actually, fun fact, I'm working with some other instructors to produce some more courses on there. But I have a free course I want to suggest you go join. I think a lot of people in the chat here will vet that. I just popped it in the link. It's my Music Business 101 course, How to Earn and Grow from Scratch. So it literally will handle all of those things you just mentioned. I think that'll be a huge blessing to you. And it's quite short. I don't like long courses. I don't like taking forever to explain stuff. So yes, it's 2 hours of material, but it's really quick, and hopefully it'll help you hit the exact items you need. So many peoples today. I love it. Welcome, guys. Altermore also says, can you please recommend some great but free stuff for learning how to play piano? I think I just talked about that, so I hope that's helpful. Marie needs to practice piano for 10 years, apparently. I think we're good. Guys, I used to love teaching piano, but it was so time consuming. Maybe I'll go back to it one day, because it's my favorite instrument, and I adore everything about the piano. And I got to such a professional level at it that I promise this is not a bragging moment. It's just a reality moment, that I got to a point where I had to make a decision. Am I going to do this for the rest of my life because I can, or am I going to become a composer? And I couldn't do both, because to be in the top 1% of anything, you have to only focus on one thing. So I had to make that decision, and it was hard, but that's why I still play piano so much. And I love playing video game tunes and film tunes and stuff, and just kind of goofing around with you guys, because it's fun. And I love that all the work I put into piano is not for waste. It's not wasted at all. It's not for granted. Instead, I get to use it to channel what's in my brain, because that is ultimately what every composer needs, whether it's a piano, a guitar, their voice, a MIDI controller, it doesn't matter. You need a tool that allows you to get what is in your head into reality. And for me, a pen and paper just doesn't quite do it. There's something exceptional about that, and I still do it occasionally, like I've done recently by writing themes, but I want the tool, the quickest tool to the production, which is right here. Right? And because I've studied 7th chords and 9th chords and an E flat major 9, that goes to an A minor 9, to a D suspended. Right? It's so intuitive to me that it's literally an extension of my brain, that I can actually think of the next chord and the next note before it ever happens. And that's the speed that you want your brain to work at. So enough about that. Let's get back to the music. Great questions, guys. Yeah. Yeah, that's what it's called, Alter More. The Virtuoso Pianist by Hannon. Just saying. I think that'll change your world. I'll make one more recommendation, that if you want to learn piano and you don't know anything about piano and you want, like, you're a self-taught type of person and you don't want to take lessons, I would also highly, highly recommend the Alfred series. It's called the Adult Beginner Piano. Do the level 1. That'll get you really far, really fast, because it's designed to cut out all the fluff. So it's like, page 1, here are all the notes on the piano. Page 2, let's play 72 songs. Page 3, let's learn jazz. It's like really fast, so you have to like almost spend a week per page, but I love that. That's my favorite way to learn and to teach is, here's like a fire hydrant's worth of information. Go learn this one thing and then turn the page. I don't like the fluff of, let's learn C. Let's play C for 10 pages. Let's play C and D. Right? That's the kids' way of learning that I actually think is bogus. Because, by the way, I'm totally ranting here today, but I've spent enough time with kids to learn that kids are way smarter than adults think, and they will rise to the level that you give them. So my favorite thing as a teacher was, not 4-year-olds, but like 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds coming into my studio, and I'm like, I'm going to really help this kid be awesome. And then within a year, they're playing stuff that like high school kids are playing, and all the teachers are looking at me like, what's going on? And I just say that. I'm like, I don't treat them like they're kids. I treat them exactly like an adult, and they rise to the occasion. Anyway. I'll type that out because I think that's important. That's the Alfred Adult Piano Series. Just look that up. I think that'll be really cool for you guys. Yeah, I mean, if you don't have good piano chops, that's going to be helpful for anybody, because it also kind of explains. So if you are going to do that, there is the lesson book, but there's also the theory book. I would highly recommend doing both because they work together. And there's even an edition that combines the two, which is really helpful because it's like, here's a bunch of music theory, and then the next page you actually play it and learn it. So it's really, really effective. Kids are awesome. Where the heck were we in this crazy song? But you know what? That was a nice little break. I have found that every time I walk away from music and come back, the ideas are better. So I like the idea of starting on F sharp minor here, but it needs to be singable. Da, 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 ya, da, 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 na, da, 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 ya, ya, da, da, da. Oh, that's such a good, like, goodbye. Love it. So, want to be too jazzy. This is a way better idea than before. No, Writing for vocals is very different than instruments, by the way, because instruments don't have to breathe most of the time. I mean, woods and brass have to breathe, but I like that. So let's put that in at the right tempo, of course. That's the point, to modulate. So that's the 6-7-1 thing I talked about at the beginning. So I can really go ham there with like the big emotional string stuff. Let's do it. It's a good stopping spot. But from there, I can really milk this out. So from a composition perspective, because this is a demo and because it's going to the team and there's going to be feedback and I'll revise it, I don't want to get too caught in the weeds of structure. Rather, what I've found works best with this particular team is for me to create separate sections. So this is an A, a B, an A transposed, a B transposed, and now a C section. Now, of course, I could deliver all of this and they could say, you know what, I really think the C should be the intro, or I think the B should go after this. So they're going to play Tetris to try to figure out the right order if something feels off. But at least I have the pieces. I have like the building blocks, right? So now the fun part is let's spend some time producing it and making it something a little bit more special and a little bit more transparent as to what it will become. And writing melodies and stuff. But at least for now, we have a basic structure. I don't need to finish the song though, because it's not whatever I do from this point forward compositionally will not serve the end product. So this is the point where, as a composer, I have to shut up, I have to stop, and now let's focus on the production. So sometimes, I don't always do it this way, but I think sometimes it's really wise to focus on the composition, then focus on the production. Because if you noticed earlier, you remember all that copying and pasting we did? You can't really do that with production because you want to change instruments, you want to orchestrate and all that kind of stuff. But the good news is I can take all of this new material here and we can very easily, they're all eighth notes, right? So I can quantize quite easily. Cool. What are you guys saying in the chat? Altamore says, yes, I agree with you, and I'm already 29, so I need to learn quickly. Thanks for the recommendations. Today's stream is for spec with your sub. Respect? I don't know what you said, but hey, I appreciate it. Xavier, yeah, I know. I mean, I have my coffee right here. We're good. I don't need like an official coffee break. This is the coffee break he's referring to. we're good. I have a limited amount of time today, and this is the first thing I'm doing today for work, so I want to make sure I'm focused. Very kind of you, Altamore. I appreciate that. And Goki says, I'm demotivated. Steven, I lose an opportunity to start my home studio. Only have my PC. Should I invest this time doing transcriptions, or what do you recommend? Video game music is my passion. Goki, I'm going to recommend the exact same thing I recommended to Altamore earlier. Let's see if the link still works. Ha, it still does. There it is. Cool. I had it in my copy paste. There you go. Go check that out. I think it's going to help you settle on some of those fundamental business decisions. Because ultimately, you can do whatever you want to make a business with music. There are so many income sources. As you'll learn, if you want to keep watching the show, I talk all the time about my different income sources. And even right now, as of October 2020, I now officially have, I think, 26 income sources per month. Right? That's ridiculous. It's so unnecessary, but why not? You earn more, you give more, you save more, you bless people. It's a pretty good deal, just saying. Because I want my impact to be maximized, and so I'm very driven to earn as much as possible, to invest as much as possible, to save as much as possible, and to give as much as possible. That's my why behind it all. Serving my family, all that good stuff, right? So yeah, I hope that will help you take the first step, because a lot of steps in this process, but you got to take the first step of what am I doing and why am I doing it? So hopefully that can kind of get your mind reset. Anyway, back to the music here. Really all I have to do now, there's a fancy tool in here called the merge tool or the glue tool in Cubase. Logic has the same thing and just merges all of them together. Now it's all one hunky-dory, beautifully quantized thing. And now we get to have some fun. We get to play around. This is my favorite part. Like I don't know if I enjoy composing more or producing more. Because some days, like today, I just want to produce. Producing meaning creating the other instruments and the overall sound and feel. Because sometimes that's just more fun, because it's like this. Composing, I've never said this before. I think this is kind of insightful. Composing is like taking a pencil and drawing a sketch. But producing is taking all of the colors, shades, and filling it in to make it come alive. It doesn't make the composition less appealing or less substantial or meaningful, but the production is the end product. You know, you imagine your favorite characters like Mickey Mouse, right? If he's just drawn with a sketch, no colors, he still looks great. But as soon as you give him that pop of red, that pop of white and black, it comes alive, and it just kind of has, I don't want to say more meaning, but you get what I'm saying, right? It makes it pop more. All right, let's do some stuff. So I for sure do not want to start with piano, but look, now I have all the notes that I need. So instead, I am going to pluck it up. And of course, Mike will have his own heyday on this later, but this at least gives him some basic colors to work with. And this is my favorite part, I think. It's a fresh coat of paint. Cool. We'll run with that. Quantize. If you guys do not know about this function up here, this is probably my favorite Cubase function. I can't say my favorite, but one of my favorites is right here. This is it's just a little knob. On every track, you can actually choose the delay amount by milliseconds. So I just noticed with my click that the pizzicato strings, right here, the pizzicato strings were late. And so I knocked them back 20 milliseconds, negative 20, and all of a sudden they're perfectly in time, forevermore. And I never have to unquantize things or move the track. I used to do that all the time, having to shift stuff over. to stay in time. But this is such a brilliant little button. You know what we need in this? We just need some orchestral. La 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 la. We need an oboe. Don't always use those words. Oboes are either gorgeous or annoying. There's no in between. So let's pull that up. By the way, if those of you who care about organization, I love organizing my things, or else I get lost. So I once upon a time did this organization, and it has been the greatest time saver of my composing life. Within Contact, I have a folder for every type of music, so orchestral, and then I go to woodwinds, and then solo woodwinds, 8 D-O Claire, and let's pull open the oboe. Otherwise, I don't know how anyone else does this. I just don't get it. I have to know what's available to me, or else I'll never use it. I'll get lost. And there came a point, I don't know if it was like 2 or 3 years ago, that mainly from doing reviews on YouTube, I've accumulated like $30,000 worth of sample instruments, which is a ridiculous amount that no one needs. I don't use half of what I have, but there comes a point where I have drives overflowing with sample instruments that you have to find a way to organize them, or else you're just going to drive yourself bananas. Okay, Amaya says, I always try and produce while composing. Do you recommend focusing on one at a time? I don't think there's a wrong answer there. I think it depends on the project. As I was saying earlier, this is a multiple step process where I'm not the only one working on this. So if I was the only one working on this, absolutely, I would produce as I compose, because that makes sense. But because in this process, there's so many back and forth people and changes that are going to happen between this and the final product that it's kind of senseless for me to try to produce everything at the same time. So that's why I'm doing them in 2 separate steps. No Earthbound there today. Whenever you can, if there are multiple microphone placements of an instrument, use those and mix them instead of going straight for your favorite reverb. Just a little pro tip there. I've learned this the hard way. Now that I am a sample instrument creator, I now understand the value of multiple mic placements. What game is that? Is that Wind Waker? I think it is. Cool. So we got the oboe happening. Ooh, I like that way better. C major 7 with a B on top. So this will be a nice way to separate C from C major 7. Just having a B on top, it'll help to give it that slight color with the orchestration, right? So I like this oboe. It's a little quiet. So let's go back to the microphones, and I should just throw this piano in the garbage. It's a nice sounding piano, but it's the wrong piano for this situation. It's like a very cinematic, beautiful solo piano. Right? great by itself, terrible in a mix. So we need to make something brighter, more Broadway. And I will also go the extra step here of adding two things. First and foremost, an EQ to shape this sucker up. Otherwise, it's just going to get in the way. Basically, we want to get rid of most of the lows. And the second weapon is a compressor. Anytime you have a piano that's not solo or like emotional, you want to compress it like crazy. I learned that the hard way. I've learned a lot of life lessons about mixing because I used to mix bands, and the keyboardist always sucked. It's not because they were actually bad players. It's because keyboards and like pianos in general have the frequency spectrum that is completely full from low to high. So you actually, as a mixer, you have to carve out a space for the piano. Otherwise, it like poops all over the whole mix. Ugh, so harsh. In. I don't want to get too ahead of myself here, but for those interested, I'm going to be producing for the rest of this stream. Try to make this thing sound the best it can. Okay, so A minor. Let's see what's actually going on here. So A minor to an F, A minor to an F, D minor, C major 7. That sounds very Zelda-ish. Sounds like Midna's theme. Like the Song of Healing or something. So what is that? D minor and G7. Yada, yada. It is lament. There it is. Then I just transpose it, but I still want to write these in. So just everything goes up a whole step. So D to an E over a D to a G over a D to a D major 7. How do I know that? Well, I've done enough music theory to just know. So you see, I mean, music theory speeds everything up. You don't have to like it, you just gotta know it. you can kind of hear how a song's actually coming together here. It's not just chicken scratch, right? That's the producing part, is to make it sound good, make it sound alive. Okay, so now same thing, everything's 2 half steps or 1 whole step higher. So that is B minor. F becomes G. A minor becomes B minor. F becomes G. D minor. E minor, right? C major 7 becomes D major 7. And I think that's the whole pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is that right? Not quite. So it's E minor 7 or E minor to A7. So I just had to transpose all of those to make them make sense. And then all I have to do is duplicate all of those. Thanks, Maria. I'm glad that this is helpful for you today. Oh yeah, I like this part. So this is the C section. So what do we do? F minor, F sharp minor. Let me actually figure these out real quick. Pretty simple pop movements here by whole steps. So F sharp minor to E, D, cool, D to an A. And thanks, Goki. I appreciate the kind words there. I don't pretend to be anything special. I've just done this a long time, so I hope that some of my habits can help inspire you guys. So A over C sharp. I've had a lot of time to make a lot of mistakes. How's that? What is that? A D. By the way, I'm totally ripping off Mario 64 right now, if anyone can hear it. Oh, it's actually B minor 7. I'll show you how I'm doing that in just a second. But it's to prove a point that nothing is original. The only way for you to write music is to pull inspiration from your favorite things. It's the only way. Nothing is original. That's okay. It's not plagiarism. I'm in this moment remembering the way that Super Mario 64 makes me feel when I do the end credits theme. It's full of nostalgia and melancholy. And so what I do is I analyze what are those chords? How does it make me feel that way? And then I take that one 4-bar phrase and I figure I like that chord progression, and then I put it in my back pocket, and then I pull that tool out when I need it. That is what music theory is. It's a tool for when you need it. Anyway. This is literally, not the exact same notes, but the same chord progression of 4 ascending minor 7th chords. It's a thing. In the same way that everyone has copied Bach forever, right? And Beethoven. Nothing's original. Just like there will always be a boy band, there will always be music theory. And this is where I really wanted to get that modulation. So C, D. To an E suspended, E. Cool. And there we have it. I know it took a few minutes to get all those in, but now I can just I can go crazy. You guys have seen me do this before. If you're new to the show, buckle up. I'll save the bass for when the piano comes in, because that's more of a rock. Don't get overly soloistic. I'll cut out the bass there. I'll get your question in a sec. Altamore, that's a bit of a deeper subject. So for something like this, I do not want to quantize because it had a lot of little flourishes, but I do want to at least scoot everything over. So one of those things that I want to quantize all of the long notes. So you'll notice here, there we go. You'll notice here, I'm just going to very quickly hold down Control because I'm on PC. If you're on Mac, you can hold down I believe the Apple key. And I'm just going to go through and quickly select all of the long notes, none of the short ones, because these are like the anchors. I want to make sure the anchors are very stable in being at the beginning of each bar, like not wishy-washy. So I'm going to hit the 8th note button, quantize, and now everything should be very secure. And I can kind of do those little riffs without screwing up the beat, because your bass has to be on time. But I didn't sacrifice the musicality of choosing to like shift at those moments. Justin, cool. I'm so glad you get Final Fantasy 13 vibes. I love Marie's comment. What? Okay, Altamore is asking a good question about how the heck did I just identify every one of those chords so quickly. Same answer as before, because I've spent, I don't even want to know how many hours. They say that it takes 10,000 hours to master something, to become like a master craftsman or something. Piano, I've probably played something in the 20,000, 30,000 number of hours. Like I've been playing piano my entire life. And for a period of time, for about a 4-year span, I played 6 or 7 hours a day. So I'm very familiar with chord shapes. I'm familiar with, every shape of C. That's part of my training. Right? And there's two components there, and I think Xavier said it well, super hearing, right? There's the aural skills of I can hear something and identify it, but I can also see something and identify it. A third component would be the sheet music side, which is notation. There's also a fourth component, which is the error detection side, which is like an analytics type minded thing. And part of my training, as I spent a lot of time with live musicians, being one myself, but I've also spent a lot of time curiously by playing violin for 20 something years now. I guess 20 years exactly. My pitch detection is like unparalleled. And if you talk to any string player, specifically strings, because there's no frets, like a guitar or a banjo or whatever, there are no frets. And so your pitch has to be pitch perfect. And you are constantly tuning your instrument. You are constantly trying to find the exact placement of every finger for every sharp, every flat, right? and you identify with perfect pitch. The piano is already perfectly pitched because it's, even temperament. And I just think there comes a point where you're so inundated with an obsession over pitch correctness that I also have the background of singing in choirs. And there's an obsession about you're flat, you're sharp, right? Change the vowel. Like there's such an obsession over being dead on pitch that I think you combine all these things together into this melting pot of musicality, and you get people. I think composers are probably some of the best musicians in the world because they have to have at least 2 or 3 of those pillars, I guess, to become a composer. And there's also like the technological facet to it all. But I think composers can be some of the most talented musicians because they have to understand composition, production, technology, business, right? And they just have this obsession with quality. So I don't know. I don't know if that makes me special in any way, but I just think having a diverse background as a mixer, as a producer, as a composer, as a musician, right? You get more perspectives that I hear when something's out of tune every time, and it bothers me. And so I want to correct it. So my pitch identification and my chord identification it's automatic. It's ingrained in who I am. Now, I don't have perfect pitch where the microwave goes off and I go, that's like 10 cents flat, right? I'm not that kind of person. But when I'm playing a chord, like I can tell what the chords are. C, I'm not even looking at my hands, right? C, F, G, E minor 7, A flat, major 7. It's just, I'm faster than the computer can identify it. But that's the human brain. Anyway, there's my diatribe. You got me going, lighting my fire. All right, let's play. What I don't want is this little bleh. See that? I heard it. This is error detection. Not everyone has this skill, but I've spent enough time with live musicians. Did you see that? This is how anal I am. This thing is like a 30-second note over, and I heard it. And so I go and I fix it because that's just my life. But that, get me fired up today. That is literally why people pay me so much. Have you ever thought about that? I'm not paid because I'm a good composer. Anyone can kind of write music, right? There's nothing revolutionary here. I'm literally stealing from Super Mario 64 right now, right? They're paying me because of the, I don't want to say hidden skills, but all of the secondary skills that I've acquired over the years, they all culminate. So for example, my most previous client hired me because I'm really good with orchestras. I know how to orchestrate. I know how to literally communicate to an orchestra. Hey, second violins, you're sharp on the 3rd note of the 10th measure. Do you think my developer would ever hear that? No. But he knows that I'm obsessed with quality. And there's something about that error detection skill that is very, very attractive and marketable in the marketplace. So I don't think it's ever wasted to go to school. I don't think it's ever wasted to study music theory and play in ensembles and do the things that musicians do because it makes us so much better and more valuable humans. The end. Whew. Relative pitch, Justin. That's called relative pitch. A. See, that's not because I have perfect pitch. It's because I freaking play a violin every single day of my life. And it's it's in my head. I can't get it out. So it's literally, that's how I base everything off of. I'm like, what pitch is that? A, B, C, right? A, D, A, E, right? It's ingrained in my soul. Okay, I'm totally off my soapbox now, I promise. Okay, so this part, I do like the piano vamping. I'm thinking, because this is more vamping, probably just do the same bass thing. I can see how that part sounds like Final Fantasy. I'll give it to you. I was too harsh on Justin. Yeah, absolutely, guys. I'm happy to share whatever is helpful. Savannah, I wish Steven was my violin teacher. You're hilarious. I used to be. I used to do that. Man, being a violin teacher is it's tough. I actually think it's tougher than being a string teacher because you're trying to teach little ears how to hear something that is so undefinable. It's so unquantifiable. To the extent that I literally would have a tuner on for an entire lesson, 30 minutes, an hour. That's how I trained people, because little ears can't hear when they're out of tune. They don't understand that they're 20 cents sharp, 30 cents flat, whatever, or they're playing the wrong note altogether. So I literally would just put a tuner and have them play to the tuner at all times. And because tuners are green if they're in the middle, or they're red, and they actually visually show you if you're flat or sharp, just did that. And it was a visual way to learn A. It's not the same as A, right? 20 cents off. A. Not the same. 20 cents sharp, right? That's the level of insanity that my brain goes to. But that's what it means to be a string player. If you want to be a great string player, you have to be obsessed over pitch, because it's what separates you from everybody else. Oh my gosh, you guys got me all kinds of raging today. Let's get this oboe solo. Something like that. You mean that's already taken? What is it? I think it's Final Fantasy IV Overworld. Good old Nobuo. Good old Umatsu. So sluggish. It's a good vamp instrumental. Yeah, that's cool. Oh, I forgot to do my quantization. I got so much on my flipping ranting over here. All right, I'm going to push forward really hard over the next 20 minutes so we can be on time. So I'm not going to answer as many questions, but please continue to ask them. And if I get a second, I'll knock it out. But what I'm trying to do right now is the same quantization thing as before with the bass. Just trying to select all of the long notes, not the short notes. This way, all of the anchor notes are in place. That's the main thing to take away here. We do have a live accordionist that is on this album, so I want to make sure that he gets lots of screen time. I'm going to do harmony. I like accordion chords. Love when accordion plays harmony with itself. Not like super thick chords, but just enough to give it some character. Still have the little glissando or whatever it's called, the you know the word, the little thing, the little blip. Grace note, the appoggiatura. Da da dum. I like this little grace note. The little thing. You know what it is. accordion is so underused. Such a gorgeous instrument. Easy here, just do 16th notes, quantize. Oh gosh, come on, 16th notes, do your thing. Better. Bah, not the greatest keyboard drummer. I want to keep the energy. Quantize that. 16th notes even. go, I think. That's the idea. Just kind of switch orchestrally here. So the strings are going to really carry this chord progression here. Question from Goki. The song is in Mixolydian, right? You are playing C, D, F sharp, and going back to C. It's kind of a mixed at this point. But yes, Mixolydian is probably the closest if you had to put it in a box. I mean, it's like a mixture of pop music meets Mixolydian video game chord progressions. Great point from Sicarius. Says, hey, I'm new here. May I ask why you're giving away so much valuable knowledge for free? Aren't you strengthening your competition? I'm a firm believer in a rising tide rises all ships, which means by helping other people, I always win. Period. End of story. I can't give away enough for free. The end. I love helping people. That's all that matters. Beyond the monetary. And the financial will always take care of itself. It always has and always will. But hey, thanks for hanging out. Alter more. I'll probably be done in about 10-ish, 15 minutes. I think we're pretty close to finishing this. And then I'll wrap it up. But you've been awesome. Come back and watch the replay so you can hear the end. These strings are so crappy. Ya da da da. These are kind of intentionally bad samples because they're quick to load. They're VSL. But they get the job done. Love that, Justin. You hit the nail on the head. Exactly. Giving away stuff for free is strengthening my network and my network referrals, which is the way that all meaningful business is by referrals. Friends refer me to their friends, right? All right, here's what we need to get into before I wrap this party up. I got to start singing some stuff. So I like this intro. There was also a request I forgot to mention for some kind of synthetic material. So some kind of synths here, especially in the intro, because there's a lot of mystical magic and such as part of this fantasy world that I want to make sure I include. So maybe let's just call it, I know what to do. I'm actually going to grab a synth that I made last week for one of those episodes. So it's pretty easy to do. Just go to import tracks from project. Let me find last week's. Shall I take a second here? So last week we did Up and Away, which is about the cow. Up and away, but I'm here to stay. That was like in a 60s swing style. That was fun. So I just want to import none, but let's go to cow synth. Might as well use something from the dang show, right? And I'll also import one more that I've done for a different episode, just so we have a couple options here. Let's also import, because we got to, at some point, use material from other sources. So let's go to tracks from project. Let's do the same thing, but with episode 13, which is, let me find it. Where is it? This is a track. This is a track that you guys did not get to watch me write, unfortunately, but I can't do them all live in front of you. There's just not enough time today. But this is from episode 13, called The Sinking Serpent Trench, which was a really cool one. Where is it? Harp harmonics and carillon. I think I was like the magic combo here. So let me grab those real quick. Just to have some more options. Oh, it's gonna make me find them on my folder. Hold on. I recently moved a bunch of my samples over to make space. Since I started Simple Samples Audio, I had to make like a dedicated drive folder for it, and so I had to move a bunch of stuff. And so a lot of these older projects yell at me. I'm finding it, I promise. There it is. You guys are funny. Oh, Xavier says that one stuck in your head? That's so funny. Apparently Stirring Stories is the one that's getting stuck in everyone's head. Don't shy away from ghouls and shadows. Boom, boom, boom. There's always something to be feared. Whatever the words are. And stay away from the tide and the shore. Da-da-dun, da-da-dun, always more. Da-dun-dun, da-da-dun, wow. Such a good one. I love that one. That's probably my favorite of the whole series. Because it has a big band and stuff. It's really fun. I really think this is going to be a cool one to... Woo! This reminds me of Donkey Kong 64 when you go to the ferry. What's up, Grant Kirkhope? Tristan asks a cool question. Hey, do you have any games that are on Nintendo Switch? Yes. Most recent is Monster Sanctuary, which I'll be totally honest, that's actually my very first game that's on Nintendo Switch, but it doesn't launch until December 8th. You can get it on PC if you want. I'm really excited about that I finally have a game on Switch. Take that, career. All right. That was like one of my life dreams right there. Just happened yesterday. I like that little arpeggio. It's a nice way to bum 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 bum. Thanks for the love, guys. It's crazy. I've done a lot of Steam games and only one iOS game, Worm Run, but nothing's ever landed on Nintendo Switch. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. And I have to give a huge shout out to Peter Jones as well. He's my co-composer for Monster Sanctuary, so we're both on it. And that was a true co-composing experience where we literally just tossed sessions back and forth till we were both happy with it. It wasn't, hey, you get this track, I get this track. It was like, no, let's do the whole thing, or as much as we can together. Okay, what does this do? I think I have to find it again. No, there it is. I use this for like an underwater one. It introduces so much noise, though. Let me see what I can do to shave it off. It's so harsh. There we go. Yeah, I like that more ambient style anyway, instead of like dun, 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 in your face. So maybe I can tame that down a little bit. This is the beauty of using this X tool, which is right here. Just kind of going through, chopping stuff up like this, and then hitting the X, and kind of muting it out temporarily until I have a much better idea of what I want. But this is why I do piano sketches. It kind of gives me the notes to work with. Okay, now this cow synth needs a little bit more love. Yeah, that's very much a Final Fantasy VII type sound. I just need to warm it up. Little EQ goes a long way. Oh, of course that's the right answer. What am I thinking? This whole time. Just less intense. More of like a bard telling a tale. Cool. Please do that much. Triple it, triple it, triple it, triple it. That's like a music box. I like it. Cool. Yeah, this is going places. So it needs like a Broadway melody. It needs a melody. Surprisingly, I'm not even a bass singer. I'm a tenor. It's kind of weird how that works. Let's do this. Uh-oh, there we go. Okay, cool. Let's make sure the microphone's on. Suppose you're gonna sing now. Excuse me. Probably a girl singer. Sorry, hair just floated into my mouth. Disgusting. Have cats. Personal problems. La, la, da, da, da. Too high. Da, 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 da. Ya, da, 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 da. La, 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 la. La, 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 la. La, 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 la. La, 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 that thing. So we're gonna transpose. Hey, what's up, Chance? What's up, Chance? I'm talking to the wrong microphone. So this part needs some kind of breath. This is like the sad part, I guess. We're here into the end. Na, na, na. I'll just follow the piano line. Da, 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 da. La, da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Hey, thanks, Chance. Yeah, Monster Sanctuary on Switch. Super cool. La, 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 la. La, 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 la. La, 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 la. La, 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 la. La, 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 la. La, 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 la. Oops. Ooh, that's like Chrono Trigger right there. I like that. Get rid of the end. La 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 la. Nope. I know what needs to happen is this C section needs to happen twice, and then we can wrap this party up. Sorry, Chance, you're here at the end. Now, yes, I do normally do these streams at 12, so you're not in the wrong. I just had to start earlier today. Way earlier. Not your fault. So, here I'd like to... Oh, what the heck is the A doing there? Almost done. My hard cutoff is in about 10 minutes. That's when kiddos get home from school. Da 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 da. Da 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 Last time it'll be that high note. And then we'll do some kind of reprise thing at the end. Okay, cool. So let's listen to that. Obviously, as mentioned before, this whole vocal thing it's just a scratch. It's not supposed to be anything fancy. But this is what I send because it's so helpful. It lets the team listen to it and make their own lyrics. And then, of course, we can go from there. I mean, I am not the singer on this at all. So what I'm doing right now is doing some crossfades. Da 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 So even this part here can be like a C2 section. Which I guess is this part where it needs to be way more energy. Cool. And of course, all those rhythmic things. That's stuff we deal with later. But at least get it in. You guys are funny. Again, please excuse the sloppiness of it all, but it's a demo. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this. But it helps to at least get the groove. And this will be like a whole choir of singers. It's not just me. Something in that vein. It's one of those times where, because it's so sluggish, you have to quantize it. I mean, I'll show you. It's worth doing. A lot of these tracks we've used a choir, and we will have a lot of singers, so it's not a bad idea to go ahead and throw in a VST choir just to kind of supplement the size of it. It can always help. So let me grab this gospel choir from Omnisphere, which is helpful. All right, so like this one. It actually helps a lot. Like here. Pretty cool, huh? All right, what else we got here to wrap up the party? This is where all the music, that's where the singing starts. Right over here. I really do have to wrap it up. What the? Chance, that's the point. I'm so glad you said that. That's literally the point of this tune. Oh, this needs a choir right here. Let's get it. Come on. da, da. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. 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 Cool. And then we'll go from there. All right, guys. I really do have to end it here. But thank you for hanging out with me for the last 2.5 hours. This has been a rush, just getting to blast through, a 3-minute song, 4-minute song, however long it is now. I want to find out. That's crazy. There it is right there. You can see it there at the bottom. So it's 3.5 minutes so far, and probably be more like a 4-minute song by the time we arrange stuff and add some little instrumental breaks and characters talking stuff. But this has been a fun one. This has been a lot of fun. So thank you guys for being a part, especially not just of today, but supporting this whole project, the Boar Knight, a musical podcast by Fool and Scholar Productions. This is kind of just the beginning. The release date is likely next year. Obviously, we have to finish all the songs before they can finish everything. But yeah, so this is kind of a cool, bittersweet moment of me being done streaming with the Boar Knight, but that just means, more projects will be featured here on the show. So thank you guys for just hanging out, being a part today. I'm going to play through this final demo of Chapter 15 or Episode 15, Fond Farewell and Fair Dealing. I think it really meshes those three things we talked about. The intro theme of the Boar Knight with Beauty and the Beast Bonjour mixed together with that video game style that we've been using. And I think the different instruments we've chosen will help, but I can't wait to really fully get this thing orchestrated and fill it out even more. As with all of these tracks, these songs have been a lot of fun. So thank you guys for being a part. I didn't quite get to everybody's questions and such in the chat, but as always, please leave a comment in the YouTube video when it replays. And I will get back to you, I promise. I always do. So yeah, just leave your comments and such there. But it's been a lot of fun. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. And I'll see you guys next week. Remember, every Wednesday we have new videos on music business. And then Thursday we do the live composing show. So appreciate you guys. Have a good one. Let's play out the final. And I'll see you next time.